Vayse. Welcome to Vayse, a podcast about weird stuff. I'm Pete C. Hine, and joining me as always is my old friend and co-host. He's 1 year older and 1 year wiser. If 24 was shite, then 25 was shicer. It's Herr Stephen James Buckley. I'm sorry, I didn't have much time for that. It's the beginning of a new year, and I've been busy.
Yeah, no,
doing
that's
things
fine.
Other than writing your intros.
It's been a tiring year for you.
Yeah, I know it has already. I have already. So what's the day that we're recording this? The 22nd of January. I've already bought my first Christmas present for someone. That's how quick and busy I am. Yeah, that's how quick the year is going and how busy I am.
Yeah, you're still back to Christmas mode.
Yeah, well, that's it. I've got to, because Christmas comes more quickly every year. I have to already gather gifts.
And people say I prepare too much.
Yeah, that's it. But it might be the only one I buy this year. It might end up that.
Well, I hope it's for me. Fingers crossed.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, sorry.
So
here we are again. Weird review of the year.
Yeah, last one went a bit awry, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was quite difficult for people to listen to. So we should maybe.
I'm facing this year with trepidation after how difficult the weird review of 2024 was.
Yeah.
But I've done my best to select a range of stories.
Okay.
Which are guaranteed to delight and titillate as well as anger in equal measure.
Right. Hit me.
January 2025.
Okay, so the first story for January was an article in Nature. Do scientists think that aliens exist?
Okay.
So this is what the surveys of the scientific community on the existence of extraterrestrial life revealed. So researchers Peter Vickers, Henry Taylor, and Sean McMahon have polled hundreds of scientists to see what the scientific community thinks about alien life. So during February to June of 2024, they carried out 4 surveys regarding the likely existence of basic, complex, and intelligent extraterrestrial life. They sent emails to astrobiologists, as well as to scientists in other areas, including standard biologists and physicists. In total, 521 astrobiologists responded, and they received 534 non-astrobiologist responses. Astrobiologists are scientists who study extraterrestrial life. The results revealed that 86.6% of the surveyed astrobiologists responded that they either agree or strongly agree that it's likely that extraterrestrial life of at least a basic kind exists somewhere in the universe. Less than 2% disagreed, with 12% staying neutral. So based on this, it could be said that there's a solid consensus that extraterrestrial life of some form exists somewhere out there.
Yeah, I mean, let's assume that the scientists are looking at it statistically. So statistically, it is likely, isn't it? Because of the, I've forgotten the name of the equation now. What's the equation?
It's the Drake equation.
I think it's that, yeah. There's a lot of numbers involved. But yeah, statistically, so they could be answering that question statistically. It's really hard to say statistically, isn't it?
Statistically.
No, not for you.
Well, not for me, no.
Not for you, you're a professional. Yeah, so I mean, they could be saying that, on a purely statistical basis.
Yeah. No, I think I completely agree. And that was kind of why I threw that in here. I wanted to start with the curveball because, yes, I think that there's a fairly solid consensus. I don't really think I've ever met anyone who disagrees with the fact that there might be alien life out there, even the most ardent skeptic, that there could be microbial life at least out there on one of the planets out in infinity. But the question is, can those little green men come down here in their little ships and bother Lue Elizondo and Chris Bledsoe? I mean, I'm not being, other crackpots are available, but I just don't see a connection between the two things, to be honest. Because even if some like hugely distant star had a planet that had really advanced life form on it, for example, what would they be doing coming here so often as well?
Yeah.
If they did come here, why would they not reveal themselves in some sort of big way? What's going on? But anyway.
Yeah. The motivation and the kind of behavior, it kind of doesn't make sense.
No.
If you look at it that way, and then sort of like people talk about them as if they're cautious humans.
Yeah.
Like, well, oh yeah, they're scared because they don't want to like frighten us or whatever. It's like, no, that's human thinking.
Yeah.
That's like that's still applying kind of how we would think about it, and I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, for me, I think that pretty much over the last year, I've come more and more to the conclusion that the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis or some sort of cross-dimensional theory is the only game in town. Whether that's like a pure sort of Jacques Vallée type idea of ultra-terrestrials, or whether more like a Joshua Cutchin, something coming in from another plane of existence, like in Fourth Wall Phantoms or something. But I think that I really don't think nuts and bolts at all. Like I'm not even a little bit, I don't think, anymore.
I've been listening to a lot of nuts and boltsy podcasts and watching a lot of nuts and boltsy documentaries, and it is seductive. As in, it is like, when they're talking about things that they found, and there seems sort of crash retrieval seems to be a big thing at the moment. But you've got to kind of, with all that stuff, you've got to take it with a massive grain of salt, because you've got to look at who's telling you that information and what their motives are. If the person telling you that information has some kind of motive, then you've got to bear that in mind. You've also got to bear in mind, if the person telling you that information is or was like a member of like the intelligence community, then like immediately it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, with all that in mind, on January the 16th of 2025, whistleblower Jake Barber released his weird egg video.
Right. He's the one that came after Grush, isn't he?
Yeah. So
Jake Barber, I think with that, I think it was like, Grush isn't testing well, so let's have someone who's a bit more normal.
This guy, I mean, he was flash in the pan, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Went. Jake Barber, he was a U.S. Air Force, so Air Force veteran who was contracted as a helicopter pilot. And he claimed that he was personally involved in retrieving such objects as this egg-shaped thing on behalf of the U.S. government. So speaking to News Nation's Ross Coulthard, that's another box ticked, he described one particular incident in which he was tasked with retrieving a white, egg-shaped craft that he believed was definitely not of human origin. And what he said was, just visually looking at the object on the ground, you could tell that it was extraordinary and anomalous. It was not human. So that's what he said about that. Yeah. After the interview, News Nation actually reached out to the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARO, so I'm sick of them, the Pentagon's official UFO investigation branch, to ask them what he'd said. And their reply was along the lines of, ARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. That was Sue Goff, and Department of Defense spokesperson.
Okay.
So, what do you make of that?
Well, the egg-shaped craft's an interesting one because the craft at Socorro in Mexico was, or New Mexico, sorry, was egg-shaped, but they said that it was avocado-shaped, but egg avocado,
Vegan egg.
tomato, yeah. And the one at Trinity was that shape as well. So
And Ong's hat.
yeah, the egg. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But there's precedent for that. But I think with a lot of the post 2017 ufology, they're digging into earlier like mythology or earlier stories, sightings, etc., and just kind of rehashing ideas because it you know, like we've said, it's symbols. It's like symbols that keep coming up, and it's like symbols and stories and characters, and you know, sort of viewing everything in that way. It's like they're like, oh, let's do this. It's like imagine like a long running TV show, right? A long running soap opera, and like say Coronation Street here in the UK, right? After a while, after like decades or whatever of it running, there's only so many plots they can do. And so they'll rehash the same plot, but with like slightly different characters, but the same like archetypes, you know.
And sometimes they'll bring old characters back as well, which we're seeing a bit here and there.
And it's like that. It's like they're creating a form of entertainment, and it is entertainment because it's not. Whilst it's not entertainment in the same way that you'd imagine, like say, I don't know, like a talk show or a comedy, it's still something that's like riveting to follow, and you've got characters in it, and you've got like you've got plots, and you've got intrigue, and you've got all these things that make up a story. Now that's not saying that I don't believe there is something happening somewhere. I just believe that a lot of the elements of ufology that are happening post 2017, post the New York Times article, etc., are pretty much bollocks. There's probably some bits of truth in there, and maybe one person has one of them and one person has another, but I don't think I think most of what we're getting is this kind of story that's been created out of maybe a couple of little bits of truth.
So, who do you think your favorite character is? You say it after three, and I'll say it at the same time. We'll see who our favorite character is.
Okay.
One, two, three. Chris
Mellon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's Mellon. Yeah.
It is. It's Mellon.
It is Mellon.
He's by far the best.
Yeah, big dick energy.
So
I'm not saying he's a nice person necessarily.
No.
He's just a great character. He's just one of them characters that's like very watchable, partly because he's got an amazing voice. And partly
he's got an amazing face.
Yeah. He's in. Yeah, I think Mellon is very entertaining, and his kind of, I don't know. It's like you were saying to me in a private conversation the other day. He's like, they're like archetypes, aren't they?
Yeah. So moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a depressing one?
Okay.
January 28th, 2025. The doomsday clock is set to 89 seconds to midnight.
Okay.
Which is the closest to doom that it's ever been.
What was it, say, 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
I might have that information here. Let's have a look. Founded, so I'm just going to do a bit of the history. I've written all this stuff, so I'm going to say it. Founded in 1985 by Albert Einstein, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and the University of Chicago scientists who helped develop the first atomic weapons in the Manhattan Project. Sounds like a bit of buyer's remorse to me. The bulletin of the atomic scientists created the doomsday clock 2 years later using the imagery of apocalypse, being midnight, and the contemporary idiom of nuclear explosion, countdown to zero, to convey threats to humanity and the planet. The doomsday clock is set every year by the Bulletin Science and Security Board in consultation with its board of sponsors, which is a bit spooky. I don't know what they've got to do with it.
Yeah, why would you sponsor?
Yeah, why would you sponsor the doomsday clock, and why would they get a say in how close to midnight we are? Like, it implies somehow that they control how close to apocalypse we are. It's probably Coca-Cola and Tesla or something, which includes 9 Nobel laureates. Those are some of the sponsors. The clock has become a universally recognized indicator of the world's vulnerability to global catastrophe caused by man-made technologies.
Right.
And it says that in 2024, humanity edged ever closer to catastrophe. Trends that have deeply concerned the Science and Security Board continued, and despite unmistakable signs of danger, national leaders and their societies have failed to do what is needed to change course. Consequently, we now move the doomsday clock from 90 seconds, there's your answer to what it was before, I don't know, about 10 years ago, from 90 seconds to 89 seconds to midnight, the closest it's ever been to catastrophe. And what they said was, our fervent hope is that leaders will recognize the world's existential predicament and take bold action to reduce the threats posed by nuclear weapons, climate change, and the potential misuse of biological science and a variety of emerging technologies, by which I presume they mean AI.
Right, yeah, spoiler alert, they won't. It's just a weird thing, isn't it? It's like an arbitrary, like what happens where... I'm asking too many questions now, aren't I? I need to shut up.
I've got plenty of answers.
But what's the furthest it can be? Like, as in, if it's a clock, is it limited to 24 hours or 12 hours?
I mean, I don't know, but in practice, I would say that with us being 89 seconds to midnight, I wouldn't worry too much about how many more seconds you've got in the day, because it's going to take a long wheeling back to get... through 24 hours in seconds.
I'm just thinking about it relatively, is in terms of like relatively, is that, I mean, what if the total is only like 200 seconds? 89 isn't that bad. You know, I don't know where they've put the maximum.
I suppose you can only do it in relative terms to what we already know it's been. So like it's closer than it was, which is.
And the thing is, they'll say it's close to, like, if it keeps getting closer, right? Someone says like, "Oh yeah, we're getting closer." Okay, but when it gets to a certain closeness, like, what are they going to do? Like, guys, come on, we're only 1 second away. I don't know. It seems.
Well, I mean, are you suggesting that they should have a plan? So when it gets to a certain point, they execute the plan. So say if it gets 2 seconds to midnight, they say, right, it's time for the plan. And presumably the plan would be the return of Einstein and Oppenheimer to sort all this shit out.
Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting concept. Imagine if your job was to be one of the scientists who calculated the doomsday clock. That would be...
So do you want to hear about some of the threats which have intensified over 2025?
Is it just mainly Donald Trump?
No, he hadn't been voted in at that point, had he? Oh, he had. Yeah, he had. That was 24. Yeah. So, but then this must have been 24 because at this point
it's the year
January.
Before.
Yeah. So most of that year he wasn't president. Well, he wasn't president for any of it. Most of that year he hadn't been elected. But anyway, it was the war in Ukraine, conflict in the Middle East, climate change, as you'd expect. This is a nice quote, in the biological arena, emerging and re-emerging diseases continue to threaten the economy, society, and security of the world. The off-season appearance of in-season continuance of highly pathogenic avian influenza is spread to, and blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. Systems that incorporate artificial intelligence and the dangers listed are greatly exacerbated by a potential threat multiplier, the spread of information, disinformation, and conspiracy, which I think must be referring to Donald Trump.
Yeah, or Vayse.
Vayse, well, of course, but because they clearly listened to that, those 9 Nobel laureates.
Yeah. I mean, are we disinformation, do you think?
Well, the problem is that we're not really claiming to provide information. I mean, I wouldn't trust anything that we said.
No, well, we are.
Well, we're providing information, but we don't give any guarantee as to the veracity of that information.
Maybe not, but like everything's information. So, and we're, there's a lot of as is exemplified by this episode. The signal to noise ratio isn't great.
No. Although the sound quality is perfect.
Yeah, the signal to noise ratio, otherwise known as the Hine to Buckley ratio.
We just don't know,
because
who knows at any one point. We're like those 2 guys in Labyrinth. Maybe one of us is always lying and one of us is always telling the truth. But maybe we swap.
We need to do like a Photoshop of that.
Someone who's listening can do that, surely. We don't ask much. We don't
Shirley?
ask much of our listeners.
Who's Shirley?
Shirley.
I didn't know we had a listener called Shirley.
th of January 2025, director David Lynch died at 78.
Yeah, that was sad.
He'd been diagnosed with emphysema in 2020 after a lifetime of smoking and was housebound at the time. He's quit smoking in 2022, so that's 2 years after being diagnosed with the emphysema, and he was reliant on supplemental oxygen. But he said that he was in good health except for that, which is a nice bit of optimism, and that he had no plans to retire. But then the horrible, also happened in January, LA fires. Lynch was evacuated from Los Angeles and just proceeded to decline. Carl McLaughlin said David was in tune with the universe and his own imagination on a level that seemed to be the best version of human. He was not interested in answers because he understood that questions are the drive that make us who we are. He also said, and he described him as an enigmatic and intuitive man with a creative ocean bursting forth inside of him. And Carl McLaughlin said, my world is that much fuller because I knew him and that much emptier now that he's gone.
So say we all. Yeah. It's, like, I don't think I've ever been as affected by a famous person's death. Like, I thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like
It's a
really,
burden.
really hit home, you know. He was a really special guy.
Yeah. As Phil keeps saying, Phil Restaino, we're so lucky that we got Twin Peaks: The Return, you know, whilst he was still able to direct and act and so on.
Yeah, he sort of ended on a high there.
Yeah, and finally in January, for a bit of levity, there was reportedly captured on camera by a passenger aboard a commercial airliner. Footage which appears to show human-like figures standing on top of the clouds, and I've seen this footage and it's quite convincing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, was it that thing where it's like what's it called when you go in the mountains and there's like a shadow that's like
no,
cast
it
on
wasn't
the
one of those. I know what
clouds.
you mean. Yeah, no, this was above the cloud line. But that's like a projection of a shadow onto the cloud, isn't it?
And what was this?
Well, they don't know. It could have been figures walking on the clouds. It could have been aliens. The figures remain motionless, stand out distinctly against the rest of the cloud layer, and cast their own shadows, suggesting that there is something that's physically there.
They were motionless. How could they be walking if they were motionless?
Well, they were standing. Yeah.
Standing, okay.
Yeah, it does say walking here. I don't know where I got that. Maybe I made that up.
Yeah. You need to work on your sources next year.
Yeah, you almost caught me in a lie there.
Just disinformation.
Yeah. But someone offered up that likely to be the correct explanation is that the cloud is in fact a layer of thick fog, and the figures are vertical columns of steam from exhaust stacks located underneath.
Right. Okay.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. Swamp gas.
Swamp gas. It's Venus low in the sky.
February 2025.
Okay. So there was a little bit of drama that kind of erupted at the beginning of February 2025, which was that it was predicted that there was an asteroid that was likely or uncomfortably likely to collide with Earth. So a large asteroid known as asteroid 2024 YR4, which is the nearly 200-foot space rock, could hit just before Christmas of 2032.
Right.
Yeah. So currently the only near-Earth object that has been placed at level 3 on the Torino impact hazard scale, giving it the highest probability of impact of any other large object being tracked by NASA and other space agencies. But that was a moment in time. So at that time, the scientists estimated that it has a 1 in 83 chance of impacting our planet in the year 2032. And while that sounds like a relatively high probability, it's likely that as the asteroid approaches and astronomers can better track its trajectory, these odds will change. And even if it did happen to hit us, it wouldn't be an extinction level event, because 200 feet in diameter would cause some damage, but it wouldn't be the doom of civilization. It wouldn't be like a dinosaur.
It'd just be the doom of like a few people.
Yeah. But by the end of the month, by the end of February, a new analysis of the asteroid's trajectory by the European Space Agency Planetary Defense Office determined that the odds of a collision with Earth were a mere 0.001%. Kind of a storm in a teacup.
Yeah.
So talking of extraterrestrial objects, on Saturday, the 15th of February, 2025, it was 30 years since the first astronomical observations conducted for the SETI Institute.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So I have a soft spot for SETI because it was all kicking off just when I'd started reading the Fortean Times in the mid-90s. So there was loads about it in that. So that must have been 95 then. 3 years earlier than that, NASA had commenced an ambitious decade-long $100 million search for extraterrestrial intelligence. However, in 1993, the United States Congress cut all funding for the program because of the growing US budget deficit. Plus, skeptics in Congress derided the program as far-fetched search for little green men. But fortunately, the SETI Institute secured enough private donations to revive the project, and Project Phoenix arose from the ashes. And then they basically just pointed a telescope or something.
Because is SETI the one that's at the start of Contact? It's throughout Contact, the film.
I don't think I've seen Contact.
Pointing, it's like getting it's like the big radars pointing at space.
Yeah, it could be. What year was that?
I think Contact was 1990.
Oh, but that predates even.
So it must have been a different one then.
Yeah. Is it the one it's definitely in the X-Files, I think, although...
Yeah, there's that X-Files episode where Mulder goes out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to Google it because it's going to... No, Contact was 1997.
Oh, right. Well, there you go then. Pretty could have been.
Yeah, here we go. So, yeah, it specifically says a SETI.
Yeah. And
Dr. Ellie Arroway works for the SETI program at the Arecibo Observatory, and I'm pretty sure that's the same one in Puerto Rico that Mulder goes to on the X-Files.
Yeah. What about Independence Day?
What about it?
I think at the beginning, because they get those signals through at the very beginning, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Because I think Independence Day came out the same year.
As Contact.
I know it was the year before, but very close.
I like the idea of it. I like the idea of SETI. I mean, it seems a little bit useless. I mean, in 30 years they haven't discovered.
It's cozy. It reminds me of like Major Briggs and his
or Father Fanthorpe.
Yeah, but like when Major Briggs is talking about in season 2 of Twin Peaks, when he's talking about how there's the satellites pointing up on the mountain, but then he's like, but they're actually pointing here at Twin Peaks in the ground, and he's like, Cooper. Yeah.
There was that creepy video in February of 2025. Do you remember it? It was
that creepy video.
Video. I'll describe it to you.
Need more
California's Clone Robotics posted a video of its full body prototype humanoid robot designed to closely mimic the form and function of the human body. And basically, it was all kind of hung up and twitching. Do you remember it?
Vaguely, yeah. To be honest,
human.
I watch a lot of videos of things that are hung up and twitching, so
they
all blend into one for me.
Yeah, I imagine it was a little bit Hellraiser.
I remember it. Yeah.
So plans are for the clone to have a full polymer skeleton consisting of all 206 bones in the human body, but with a smaller number of bone fusions. So all of the joints are fully articulated. The robot's limbs are moved via the company's myofiber artificial muscle technology, and each muscle essentially takes the form of a mesh tube with a balloon inside it, and that balloon expands rapidly as fluid is pumped into it, forcing the mesh to contract longitudinally.
Right.
Which I think is why it looks kind of creepy. And what makes it more horrible is that the clone also has its own nervous system, which will ultimately consist of 4 depth cameras in the skull for vision, 70 inertial sensors for awareness of joint positions, and 320 pressure sensors for muscle level force feedback, which will kind of let it react instantaneously. And yeah, the video is just, it dangles from cables, twitching in a way that brings to mind a puppet or a hanging body.
Nice.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Because we've got a lot of artificial intelligence around, which is basically a little guy inside your computer.
I think that there's better uses of that money and research and resources.
Do you think that we're going to get there with lifelike robots?
Probably.
Yeah.
But because it's fucking pointless but makes money. So it's like, you know, well, of course we are. But like something like, oh yeah, curing cancer or free energy. It's like, no, we won't do that.
Well, you know, Stephen Greer's trying.
Of course he is. Stephen Greer's trying a lot of things. He's trying my patience.
How about this? Those little Peru mummies, the little dry guys.
Oh, yeah. We talked
Human
about them
teeth.
last year, didn't we? What did you say?
Human teeth.
Human teeth, right, okay.
Yeah.
Was that
So
February? February.
that was February. They discovered that. They keep on finding new little things about them.
Right.
So I think this is the only story I've put in this year about them because they keep on finding other little things about them.
Yeah.
Almost as if they're kind of adding to them. Or
Well, everything about them is little, isn't it?
yeah.
Little
Dozens of
guys.
these specimens were discovered in the Nazca Desert by journalist and ufologist Jamie Massan. Do you remember him? We did quite a lot on him, I think a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
Which has led to years of investigations to uncover the truth. Dr. Jose Zalz, former director of the Mexican Navy Medical Department, and his team were investigating one of the mummies they named Antonio when they placed a small camera in the mummy's mouth, capturing footage of what appeared to be amalgam fillings.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't understand, and the article is really unclear as to whether this is proving that they're real or not real, because what Dr. Zal said is this is yet another piece of clear, irrefutable evidence that these bodies are 100% genuine, real, and organic, having once been alive.
Yeah.
Which, it seems more like, to me, that someone shoved people's teeth into these little mummies, even the ones that have fillings in,
Like
rather
fillings,
than these... Did they think that these mummies went to the dentist? Is that what
Yeah,
they're saying,
fillings
to
are
get
a fairly
fillings?
recent,
Yeah,
like
for humans
in the grand
as well.
scheme of things,
there's
a
not
fairly
a-
recent invention.
I'm sure you could fill the teeth of other animals, but I don't know
Yeah.
if they do. Do you give dogs fillings? I've never given a dog a filling.
I wonder if there's just a race of little people, and that's what all of this is.
Maybe.
And that's what they've been keeping for us all this time. And people assume they're from space, but they're just small.
And what? And they go to the dentist as well?
They go to the dentist.
Well, they have their own dentist, or they go to
They
our
have
dentist?
they have a special dentist in the they have a special dentist in the underground dentist.
Is that where they live underground?
I'd imagine so, or in the sea. Where else are they going to live? We've pretty much
Looked everywhere for them.
yeah. There's not really. It's the crypto-terrestrials.
Yeah.
Mike Tony's crypto-terrestrials theory, but like the little people, they used to be called like fairies and
Right.
elves and goblins.
What changed?
Well, our technology changed. We have different names for them. Maybe they got frightened because we were awful, and then they
One visit to a human dentist, and
they started like saying, "Oh yeah, we're from space, guys. We're aliens," to try and scare us.
Yeah.
You know, or just maybe they're just like messing with us. But I don't know. It kind of, like you were saying before, there's no proof that, or like the only indication that a lot of these things that people see come from space is either they've been told we're from space, or they've just made an assumption.
What I don't get about the dry guys, the Peru mummies, the Nazca mummies, is why they're so determined to make them a thing, and why they're so determined to make them real. I mean, in whose interest is it to make these mummies seem real because everyone just seems to be mocking it.
I guess it's almost part of the whole thing of like tying stuff to a previous myth, isn't it? You know, it's tying it into like American, like in this case, kind of like Native American or Native South American folklore, and like, or just the idea of, you know, these this is associated with a group of people that we kind of don't know much about, so we can almost like it adds to the mystique, doesn't it? You know, it's like the same with Native American people in North America, or, you know, it's like the ancient aliens thing, isn't it? It's sort of like, it's kind of adding a bit of a previously existing myth to the UFO thing.
It's just very weird, though. I mean, that Jose Zalso, or whatever his name is, he was the former director of the Mexican Navy Medical Department. Right. It's like, what the Navy got to do with it? I mean, maybe nothing. I mean, it may be that he's just a crackpot, but it just seems weird that that's where their attention is going.
I wonder what Chris Mellon thinks of the little dry guys.
I bet he knows the truth.
Like they because there doesn't seem to be, as far as I can tell, much crossover between that little group.
No,
you know, Mellon, Lue, you know, etc., and the dry guys.
No, I mean, there's not a lot of crossover with the dry guys with anything else, really. They seem to have just be a little thing of their own, really.
It's very ancient aliens, though. It's very
yeah.
It's kind of. I mean, I like the idea in principle. If it was fiction, it'd be interesting, you know.
Yeah, but
if it was fiction, more. Like here I am.
yeah.
But we all know it's real.
Okay, how about this then? This one might hit home.
Are we still February?
We're still February. Yeah, it was a long month, even though it's the shortest.
Yeah.
Belief in the supernatural is linked to higher stress and distress levels. Yeah. So the research
I can't speak to that.
Well, the research was headed up by Neil Dagnall of Manchester Metropolitan University. Shout out to Manmet, Sirica, and myself.
Say our previous guest,
and Andrew Denovan of Liverpool John Moores University involved a statistical analysis of the beliefs of 3,084 participants, which evaluated whether two types of belief in the paranormal might be associated with different levels of perceived stress. The researchers focused on two things: traditional paranormal belief, or TPB, which concerns a belief in spirits and external supernatural forces, and New Age philosophy, or NAP, which concerns beliefs centered on self-control and improvement, such as meditation and positive energy. I don't find those two things completely mutually exclusive.
No, it's fairly ignorant, really, that, isn't it? But
the findings indicated that those who were more inclined to believe in spirits and supernatural forces had higher stress levels and were more prone to stress, while those who favored a more New Age approach did not. So these results suggest that TPB may reflect a reduced perception of control over external factors, which can increase susceptibility to stress, whereas NAP, due to its focus on more individual issues, does not appear to contribute to these dynamics. That's what...
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what Neil Dagnall said.
Neil Diamond.
That said...
Sorry, I just blurted out Neil Diamond for no reason.
Do you think he's more of a TPB or an NAP?
I don't know.
Diamond. I mean, I would say
a great
NAP.
Name, Neil Diamond.
Yeah, I mean, he's named after a rock, a crystal.
Yeah.
I think he's got to be
the hardest one.
Yeah. That said, the researchers concluded that paranormal belief is not causally linked to distress. Rather, the relationship is more nuanced, and in some contexts, reduced control may associate positivity with TPB consequently serving an adaptive function such as facilitated coping. I mean, it just sounds like a pointless study to me.
I think it's probably just like, there's probably like a bunch of like factors that make people interested in that. And like the sorts of people that would be interested in like the supernatural were probably the sorts of people that got bullied at school. And so they're like less able to function in society I'm just talking about me and you, Anna.
Yeah. No, I mean, the way I see that is, if I was going to break it down to kind of my experience a bit more, the TPB people are the ones who are a bit more like, who could we use as an example? So, I mean, we've got lots of examples of NAPs. You know, they're the sort of meditating ladies on Instagram and stuff. They all have brilliant lives.
MLIs.
What's that?
Meditating ladies on Instagram, MLIs.
Well, yeah, the MLIs. Yeah, the MLIs, they're NAP. Okay.
Right, yeah.
But the TPBs, they're more like, I'm trying to think of a good example. There will be one. Who are these? You know, like one of those experiencers who's just Whitley Strieber. So Whitley Strieber, who just like has this. I mean, he's got a bit better recently, like you know, over the years, but like, you know, constantly having a bad time, no control over the phenomena that's happening to him. Yeah, he's a TPB all the way.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So it's like almost like a psychological state. If you externalize the phenomena in a way in which it is so separate that it can be like a negative force upon you, then you're going to be in the Whitley Strieber camp. Whereas if you're more of an MLI and you have the NAP mindset, then you are tending to your internal state more. Yeah,
okay, that makes sense. Where do you sit on this?
Well, I'm halfway, I think. I mean, I do a lot of the MLI NAP, and I do quite a bit of the TPB. But it's just it's a balance, I think. I certainly wouldn't consider myself an MLI personally.
No, I mean, you're not an L.
I know people who are.
You're not an L.
Oh yeah, but I know L's.
You
what
M.
What say?
You M, but you're not an L.
I am, but I'm not an L.
You're on I sometimes, but you don't M on I.
No, and I'm rarely on I. And if I do, I don't M, and I'm never L.
And the thing is, like, when you M, you just keep it to yourself. Like, you don't like, here's a video of me Ming, guys.
I feel no need to show everyone on I when I'm Ming.
No.
Because why would I?
Well, no, I mean,
I'm not one of those L's who does that.
I mean, it should be. I don't think it's just L's, though.
Well, no, it's not. No.
But
they were just an example.
Yeah, but I just think M shouldn't be. To me, M and I are completely separate things.
Yeah,
like
they're almost contradictory. If you're on I, you're not Ming, not correctly anyway.
Yeah, and like I is like the opposite of Ming.
Yeah, you can't M on I.
You can't M on I,
whether you're an L or not.
And the more time you spend on I, the less you're able to M.
So keep your NAP off I and your M to private, I suppose.
Word.
Glad we sorted that one out.
March 2025.
Vast city alleged to have been discovered beneath Giza pyramids. Giza. It's Giza, isn't it?
Yeah.
Giza. I don't know.
I'd say Giza, but I'm not
Giza,
from Egypt.
Do you remember this one?
Yeah, that was cool. I quite enjoyed that, actually. I've got a podcast lined up about it, but I've not listened to it yet.
Yeah. Researchers in Italy unveiled bombshell findings suggesting multi-thousand-foot tall wells and chambers exist beneath the, a pyramid. I'm not going to say the name of it because I'd ignorantly butcher the name. This revelation could radically reshape both Egyptian and human history. But experts have questioned the study's scientific validity, quickly dismantling the claims as completely wrong. The scientists have argued with a confidence level well above 85% that the structures, particularly those beneath the, I'm going to try and say it, Khafre and Giza pyramids, are real. They carried out the searches by using high-frequency electromagnetic waves, sending signals into the ground and mapping formations based on the way those signals bounced back. Combined with AI, the team contend that this enabled them to visualize massive structures beneath the pyramids. I just imagine them typing it all into ChatGPT.
Yeah, make a picture of some spooky shit beneath the pyramid.
Yeah.
I read that book, The Stargate Conspiracy, which talks about a lot of that stuff and how, like, there's always been that sort of fascination with Egypt that's like, it keeps coming back as like a theme that gets linked to sort of the occult or ufology or combinations of the two. And it's always like, even today I was listening to a podcast with a description of like some aliens, and they were wearing Egyptian headdresses, of course, Egyptian style headdresses. It's like it's always been, there was that whole, I think since kind of what era was it? It was like almost like the Crowley kind of era, wasn't it? Of like the
Golden Dawn were obsessed with that, with the Egyptology.
Yeah, when you had like people in like the early 20th century, it was just like a big thing when there was all like the archaeologists over there and that kind of sort of
the Curse of Tutankhamun and all.
Yeah, and that kind of Indiana Jones vibes kind of thing, and like I was saying about the mummies in Peru, it's like they pick something that's already like steeped in like wonder and like lore, and then just kind of adapt it a little bit to make it fit with like because it's almost already got the power. You don't need much to convince people. If you tell people there was hidden structures beneath Asda or whatever, I'd
be first in line for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. But it wouldn't be quite as powerful. But I think it's like this whole thing.
It depends
like
which Asda, but yeah, in principle, yeah.
Finding like finding like a source that is already rich. It's like is
that what they have in the Asda? Under the Asda,
yeah,
a rich source.
A rich source.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's almost like a jumping off point, isn't it, for other crazy
but
things.
Having said that, it's still cool. It's like still like I still.
I mean, even if this is a bit right, I'm interested.
Yeah, exactly.
The results of this study with the AI were presented to an audience of 1,000 delegates and live streamed as a lengthy press conference on YouTube. Not a published scientific study, raising concerns about transparency and peer scrutiny. Critics say that without a strong and reliable source signal, the data could simply be random noise, especially problematic when using AI, which can find patterns even where none exist.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And apparently one of the researchers, named Corrado Malanga, is known for fringe theories about alien abductions, New Age, and UFOs, raising red flags about his scientific credibility. I don't know who that raises necessarily red flags with. I think that's
I was going to say, you've got fringe theories, and I've got fringe theories.
But then I'm not claiming that there's tunnels under Asda, though, so there's that difference there.
With stuff like this, I often wonder, like, how hard would it be to just do it again, like, properly?
Yeah.
It's
I don't know. Instead of these people sitting around criticising, they should get out there and make their own observations.
I'm not volunteering to do it myself.
No, but we've got Asda to investigate.
Yeah, and just other things to do. We've got a podcast to do.
Well, yeah, which we seem to be a bit stuck with at the moment.
If any of our listeners would like to go to Egypt and find out what the fuck is going on, then please do.
Yeah.
And we'll interview you afterwards.
Yeah, there might even be something interesting out there. I mean, there definitely is something interesting out there, but there might be something interesting under there.
Under there, yeah, out there and then under.
The truth is under there. The US government released in March of 2025 the final batch of documents on the assassination of President JFK, John F. Kennedy. The reason I put this in is that we've both been listening to quite a lot of nuts and bolts type UFO stuff, and Kennedy comes up quite a lot, and in the Lavender stuff as well. With some weird connections, and Lee Harvey Oswald, of course, figures in the sinister forces. But following an executive order by Trump that required remaining unredacted files in the case to be made public, US authorities have previously released hundreds of thousands of JFK documents, but held some back, citing national security concerns. So there were, out of the 1,123 documents that were included in the release that was on March of 2025 from the National Archives and Records Administration, many documents have already been released partially, but in a redacted form. So out of the interesting information that was revealed it was confirmed that there was wide-scale monitoring of US mail and mail tampering by the CIA, which doesn't surprise me.
No.
It says 200 or 300 CIA employees are exclusively engaged in monitoring US mail going to the Soviet Union, and index the names of approximately 250,000 people. And Lee Harvey Oswald was included in the monitoring.
Right.
By March of 1961, the CIA advised that about 500,000 items per month passed to and from the USSR, and about 200,000 of these were screened by the CIA.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember it being just like a big nothing burger.
Yeah, there was
nothing juicy.
It says that the JFK White House was critical of the CIA after the Bay of Pigs. Kennedy aide Arthur Schlesinger wrote a highly critical memo to JFK, taking the CIA to task for undermining the State Department. And what was interesting and typical of the Trump administration was that the files contain the unredacted personal information of dozens of people,
right,
which it seems to have released by accident.
Who do you think killed JFK?
I think it was Lee Harvey Oswald, but I don't know why. I think there's something more to it. I'm not full Sinister Forces on it, but some of that stuff is compelling in the way that it's presented. So I'm not sure about a huge conspiracy where necessarily Oswald was a patsy, necessarily, but I do think that his motivations may have been manipulated.
Yeah, I do like that kind of Manchurian Candidate sort of, just because that stuff's all really interesting. But that doesn't mean I believe it's true. It's just if it's a fiction, that's the story. Choose your own adventure. That's the path that I go down. It's like some kind of some kind of weird like mind control shit going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the thinking that there might be other gunmen involved is to do with the idea that the enormity of killing someone like JFK couldn't just be done by one person.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Which isn't true. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't. It's just that it seems to me that one person is completely capable of doing what was done.
Something's just occurred to me when the Trump administration released them files. Was that prior to Trump being shot or after?
After.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I just thought it might have been like one of these preparing people for it kind of thing.
Yeah, no, this was March of 25, so Trump was president by then. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, here's another familiar, from the Trump to the Musk. Musk outlines ambitious plan to send humans to Mars as early as 2029. So on the 15th of March 2025, Elon Musk said, Starship departs for Mars at the end of the year, carrying Optimus. If those landings go well, then human landings may start as soon as 2029, although 2031 is more likely. So he wants to send Starship to Mars by the end of 2026 with one of his Tesla robots on there.
Yeah.
Let's just see how it was going by that point. Explosions during Starship test flights in January and March were so bad that they created air travel disruptions and diversions. Spaceship. So this is the SpaceX Starship, which is the biggest, most powerful rocket ever built. And it was launched 5 times in 2025 on suborbital test flights from the company's Starbase site in South Texas. And the first 3 did not go entirely according to plan. They just exploded. So basically, 3 out of those 5 just blew up.
Is there anything he's good at?
Talking bullshit.
Yeah, it's just like, he's not even good at that. It's like, it's not even...
No, it's not interesting bullshit. He's no Chris Mellon.
I can't see the appeal. Like, I just can't see it at all. No. Nope.
But in March, scientists working on making the woolly mammoths made woolly mice.
But
so I don't know if it... Yeah.
Rewind. Scientists working on making the woolly mammoth.
Woolly mammoths, yeah. So they're bringing them back from extinction. they managed to make woolly mice. Now, I don't know if this is the
Right,
idea that they're
okay.
going to scale them up,
Right.
or or whether
Okay.
woolly mice were a thing that they brought back to life. But this company called Colossal Biosciences,
Brilliant.
Colossal Biosciences, not the scientists being colossal, a biotechnology company that aims to achieve de-extinction as soon as 2028, seems to be making some interesting progress. The scientists have succeeded in creating something that puts us one step closer to de-extincting the woolly mammoth, the creation of woolly mice.
If only there was a sort of parable about the dangers of tinkering with science and bringing back things that are
the
dead.
dangers of having Richard Attenborough tinker with.
Yeah, the dangers of having like big, scary creatures like living amongst us.
The reason for doing this is to validate methods of comparing the genomes of mammoths with today's elephants and finding ways to genome edit the cells of the latter. Notice that they're using mice still at the moment.
Right.
To achieve this, they modified 9 genes related to hair length, color, and thickness. But while the work is certainly impressive on a technical level, some argue that the money and effort will be better spent on trying to prevent existing species from becoming extinct in the first place.
Yeah.
Because what it seems like they're talking about here is giving elephants loads of woolly hair rather than making a mammoth come back.
Yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like shaving a bird and giving it scales and saying it's a dinosaur.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah.
There'll be someone working on that.
Yeah, there'll be someone shaving birds.
Oh, yeah. There's always someone shaving birds.
April 2025.
Secretive Russian military satellites release mysterious object into space. 3 satellites designated Cosmos 2581, 2582, and 2583 launched on the Suez 2.1V rocket from Plesetsk Cosmodrome early on February the 2nd. That's 2025. The satellites, whose purpose is unknown, proceeded to display interesting behavior while in near polar orbit, roughly 364 miles above Earth. Russia has provided no details about the satellites and their mission, but that's no different because many Cosmos missions are classified. So in April, it released this object. The released object could be used for a number of objectives, including military experiments such as satellite inspection or target practice, testing technology for docking or formation flying. It may also be a scientific payload or even the result of an unintentional fragmentation, though this would usually result in numerous pieces of debris.
What was the object? Was there any description?
They don't know.
It could have been anything. It could have been a turd. It could have been something really small, like people release objects into space all the time, do they not?
Well, they try, like
They
Elon
try.
Musk, but yeah.
Yeah. I wish someone would release Elon Musk into space.
Maybe one day they will.
Hopefully, just give him a little push. Elon, Elon, look at that! Look at that star over there. No. That'd be it.
That's it. Are scientists working on that, do you think?
I hope so. That's the Nobel Prize right there.
So from the ridiculous to the quite sad, Pope Francis died on the 21st of April 2025 by cerebral stroke, which led to a coma and irreversible cardiac arrest. He'd already been treated in March of 2025 for double pneumonia, so he'd been quite poorly for a while.
Mm-hmm. Is this the point now where we complete the Vayse bingo and you say that you were raised Catholic?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, so I keep an eye on
Yeah.
the papists and what they're up to.
Just checking, just making sure.
Yeah. But get this. According to a 900-year-old book in the Vatican known as the Prophecy of the Popes, and it's got various Latin names, which it claims to predict the year of Judgment Day. And apparently the Judgment Day might be upon us soon, according to this 12th century book. So it's located in the Vatican's secret archives, where Tim Taylor hangs out.
Pasulka.
Yeah. And it was discovered in 1590 by a Benedictine monk, Arnold Wion. Could be Vion, I'm not sure. The book contains a series of Latin phrases in 112 mysterious sections which purport to predict the Catholic popes, beginning with Celestine II up to the church's current leader.
Right.
So that would be not Leo. That would have been Pope Francis.
Previous Pope.
Yeah. So one passage attributed to Pope Sixtus V, cool name, reads, Axel in the midst of a sign. I don't know what that's got to do with anything.
Axl Rose, do you think, maybe?
Could be.
Mr.
Pope Sixtus' tenure began 442 years after the first pope's rule, and the passage suggests that he is in the middle of the papal lineage. So that must be at the axle in the middle.
Right, yeah, like the axle of a wheel,
Yeah. Thus indicating the end of the world would come 442 years later in 2027. Okay.
Right.
So the last passage of the book reads, in the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will reign Peter the Roman. Could be me.
Yeah.
Who will feed his flock amid many tribulations, after which the seven-hilled city will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge, that could be you,
Okay.
will judge the people. The end.
Right. Okay, so
what do you
we're
think about
included
that?
in a 12th century prediction.
We could be. We could
Yeah,
be.
the dreadful
I don't want to
judge,
make
I like
any
that.
wild claims or spread
Judge
any
Dredd?
misinformation.
Judge Dredd?
Dredd.
Is that what
Yeah.
they mean? Yeah, I mean, obviously those 12th century manuscripts are famously very accurate sources of prediction and information. So, yeah,
So
I'm
the
here for it.
seven-hilled city refers to Rome,
Right.
and some interpret the last passage of Peter taking over as the Pope from Francis due to the latter's chronic lung disease, making Francis the last Pope. Peter being me, of course. So,
Right.
so what it's saying is that effectively the last Pope is Francis, and then the destroyer comes.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Now, this obviously never happened because Pope Leo was elected Pope on the 8th of May of 2025.
Right.
Skeptics doubt that Pope Leo had any notable connection to this final line. But according to a report from a Catholic news agency, which I didn't know existed until I did this bit of research, during a ceremonial visit with Rome's mayor, Pope Leo declared, "Today I can say that through you and with you, I am Roman." That statement has ignited speculation that Leo may fit the final prophetic description more closely than any of his predecessors. In addition to that striking declaration, Pope Leo emphasized his role as a shepherd and his commitment to service. He said, "I feel a serious yet passionate responsibility to serve all its members with the faith of the people of God and the common good of society foremost in my heart." And that language bears a resemblance to the prophecy's reference to Peter the Roman pasturing his sheep in tribulation. I don't think it does really.
No.
That's what the Catholic news
This is
agency
all,
said, though.
yeah, this is all getting kind of a bit Da Vinci Code.
It is a bit Da
kind of-
Vinci Code, yeah. It's worth noting that the modern scholars have disputed the origins of the text, saying that the book is simply a cryptic forgery created for partisan political reasons. But Matthew 24:36 reads, "But at that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven nor the Son, but the Father alone," suggesting that you can't predict the end of the world.
Right.
Separately, it's been speculated that Pope Leo, will be the disclosure Pope, of course, about the Vatican's knowledge of UFOs. So reports exist of mysterious flying objects crash in Italy's Lombardy region around 1933, involving an unoccupied metallic saucer-like craft that the fascist government allegedly recovered and studied under orders from Mussolini.
Yeah, I heard about
David
that one.
Grush
Yeah.
claimed Pope Pius XII back-channeled information to the US about a crashed UFO recovered by fascist dictator Benito Mussolini.
Yeah, the lore I heard around that one was that, like, the Italians found it, it crashed in Italy, they went to the Nazis and said, "Is this one of yours, lads?" And they were like, "No, but let us have a look at it." And they did some, like, reverse engineering or whatever and did all the...
But the fact that David Grush says something about it means that it's probably bollocks.
Yeah.
Now, the Vatican's archives contain approximately 80 kilometers of shelves holding everything from handwritten papal notes to presidential missives. And it, of course, features an American Cosmic by Tim Taylor goes there and gets converted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, at the end.
Yeah. Marco Grilli, secretary to the prefect of the archives, has said the prefect wants to affirm that there is no document in the archives that regards extraterrestrial life, and scholars seeking such material at the Vatican should be dissuaded from undertaking futile and unproductive attempts in the apostolic archive. So he's saying, back off, lads. you're not having any of this. Now, first mention of this guy, UFO researcher Mark Christopher Lee, claims to have secured rare access to the Vatican's confidential archives and is investigating historical accounts of unexplained occurrences that may shed light on humanity's interaction with alien civilizations. He said, "I've been given rare access to the Vatican's secret archives. I'll be looking for any historical references to unexplained phenomena, spiritual encounters, or anything that could have shed light on humanity's possible contact with intelligent life beyond Earth."
Is there not already loads? Like, it's not like there's not already loads and loads of documents and sort of accounts and pictures of people encountering strange things in the sky and strange lights and etc. Like, surely we know already. They don't need to tell. Like, what's the difference? What's so special about these? Is it because they're held by the Vatican?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's sort of. I think it's a desperate grasp for legitimacy, however that might occur, and I think having the Pope's blessing might be what pushes them over the edge.
I don't see why they'd be any different to anything we've not already got, because
and I mean the Bible's loaded with all that shit anyway.
Yeah, Ezekiel's wheel, and it's not like there's going to be. I mean, Christ, I'm at the point now, and I think a lot of people are, where even if you saw a video, you'd just be like. A video of like a UFO landing and the aliens getting out or whatever, you'd just be like, yeah, that's AI. Yeah. It's a deep fake. And it's like, we've all become so kind of desensitized to sort of bullshit, basically.
Yeah.
That we're not, like, say, 20 years ago, some of the videos that we see now, if I'd have seen them 20 years ago, I would have been like, wow, that's convincing. Like, I believe, but now it's like, I don't believe anything, like because everything's just with like reality has kind of broken down.
We're living in a post-reality reality.
Yeah, so like with all the best will in the world, a series of like documents that have been kept under the Vatican for however many centuries, and it's not going to do it
question,
for me.
Firstly, is Mark Christopher Lee going to go through all 80 kilometers of shelving?
We don't know how. He might be a very athletic man. He might be able to.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just the traversing such shelving. It's the reading.
Maybe he's three men: Mark, Christopher, and Lee.
Well, yeah, but even then, I mean, what's 80 divided by? I mean, you're looking at what, like about 20 something. I don't know. I can't do maths, all right. But you're looking at like 20 odd kilometers of shelving each per person. They've got to read those documents. So even those three men would struggle. But the second question is, how is he going to get past Marco Grilli, who seems determined to prevent people from looking at those documents?
Who's he?
He's the secretary to the prefect of the archives.
Oh, of course. Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So Mark Christopher Lee said the new pope could become the first spiritual leader in history to address first contact, and I intend to find out how prepared the church really is. And in his latest documentary, God vs. Aliens, Lee contends that UFO encounters and paranormal events are connected, and maintains the church may be considerably more receptive to the existence of extraterrestrials than most people realize. So there's a bandwagon. In addition, Pope Leo, his newly appointed astronomer, revealed he would be willing to baptize an alien, which sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, describing extraterrestrials as children of God. So Father Richard de Souza, who currently heads the Vatican Observatory near Rome, argued that theology would need to reimagine itself should humanity ever encounter intelligent life. He said, they're all part of God's creation. The question would be how to reach them or how they would reach us. I quite like that, because that's like the idea of having if my arms were long enough, I could hug you to those aliens. It's like if my reach was that, I would baptize you. So he seems nice. Nice. I imagine like the Vatican. Do you ever think about the Vatican? I imagine it to be a bit like, in Roger Rabbit when they go to Toontown and everyone's a cartoon. Right. It's like that, except everyone's a priest.
Everyone's
the astronomer's a priest, and then you go and buy like a newspaper from the guy around the corner, and he's a priest, and then you get some dinner and it's served to you by a priest. And
I don't think about the Vatican a lot, to be honest. I think
you
about
weren't raised Catholic, were you?
No. So I think like I kind of. when I think of like priests and the priesthood and stuff like that, the main thing I think of is The Exorcist because of, you know, where that's set in that kind of priest's college place.
Yeah.
I think about that, which is not really the Vatican, is it, at all?
No, it's
maybe that can be my homework for this week, to think.
What, to find out where the Vatican is?
Just to think about the Vatican.
Yeah, meditate on it.
Yeah.
Do some M, get some M, get some serious M.
I won't put it on the
that
I,
V. No, don't put it on the I, but M on the V, and just tell me what you see.
M on the V. Yeah, I'll just
M to the motherfucking V, motherfucker.
I'll think about the Vatican a bit and tell you what happens.
You think about that.
Well, we're recording this in 2 parts, so maybe at the start of part 2,
you can tell me what you thought about.
I'll tell you what happened when I thought about the Vatican.
Okay, I can't wait.
The VAT.
M on the VAT.
Yeah.
And just see what happens.
VAT,
so Mark Christopher Lee said that these statements by D'Souza, Father D'Souza, were more than mere hypothetical musings. And in God versus Aliens, he argues that the church may be significantly more prepared for the paranormal and the extraterrestrial than the public assumes, even hinting that some officials may view these crafts as interdimensional or demonic rather than physical spacecraft. You can see where all that's going anyway.
Yeah.
There's a few other Pope Leo conspiracies which I'll whiz through. Steve Bannon said that the vote was rigged. I think that's because Leo doesn't like Trump or whatever. His brother's completely mental. The Pope's brother, he's a MAGA guy called Nancy Pelosi or something like that.
Right, in America?
No, sorry, no, he's not called Pelosi. He called Pelosi, he called Nancy Pelosi a drunk cunt in a Facebook rant. Imagine being the Pope and your brother doing that.
Is he American? This guy,
yeah,
right. But is Leo American?
Yeah, he's the first American Pope.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And his brother's just this like crazy ranting guy. He has dialed it down a bit. I imagine he got a real like papal bollocking for all that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Pope Leo's visit to Turkey to mark the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea has triggered a strong backlash from many Turks, with critics accusing the Catholic leader of harbouring political motives or seeking to revive the Crusades.
Wow.
So yeah. So that's a bit of a leap. But then his brother does seem pretty offensive.
Yeah, that's a fairly wow. That escalated quickly.
I know. Yeah. The thing is that those little stories are more interesting, but there's not a lot to them. That's all there is, really.
We bring a lot to them. It's not. I know that with these episodes, it's not about the stories. It's about the padding in between.
It's about the journey.
Yeah.
So talking of journey, we're back to where we were a few minutes ago because scientists announced in April of 2025 that a direwolf species has been brought back from extinction after 10,000 years. So this is Colossal Biosciences again.
Right, CB.
It says it's revived an extinct species, the first direwolf. The US company's website revealed that on October the 1st, 2024, for the first time in human history, Colossal successfully restored a once eradicated species through the science of de-extinction. And after a 10,000 plus year absence, our team is proud to return the direwolf to its rightful place in the ecosystem.
I hate that they're calling it de-extinction.
Yeah, I know. It just sounds really unscientific, doesn't it?
It just sounds like tech bro stuff.
So this is the same company as created the woolly mouse. And so they kept the direwolf a secret for a few months. And then like 1 month it was like woolly mouse, next month direwolf.
Right. What do you reckon it'll be next?
I mean, if I was them, I'd just go straight for the T-Rex after that.
Saber-toothed tiger.
Oh.
That'd be fairly easy to do, wouldn't it? Relatively.
You could easily fake that as well.
You could get the dentist to put the fillings into the mummies to put the saber teeth onto the...
Yeah,
there's not...
de-extinction.
Yeah.
No, I wonder if they could, like, do something useful and, like, de-extinct David Lynch or something. And, that would be...
But I can't help but think that when these animals come back, they're going to be, like, psychotic in some way.
Or at least very unhappy and depressed.
Yeah, like something's going to be not right because they're not... This is a very unscientific feeling I have. It's not... I have no proof of this, but just a feeling that, like, to bring a species back that's been extinct, and that species would somehow know what had happened to it in its like collective, like, I don't know. I just have a feeling that it will somehow know, and it will somehow be
Hold it
unhappy.
against us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a bit of digging into this company, Colossal Biosciences. It was started by billionaire, of course, American entrepreneur Ben Lamb, partnered with George Church, who co-published the first direct genomic sequencing method in 1984, and in the same year helped initiate the Human Genome Project, and who is also working on age reversal therapies, and is a faculty member in the Consortium of Space Genetics at Harvard Medical School. So, space genetics. Consortium of Space Genetics at Harvard Medical School website says, based in the Department of Genetics at Harvard Medical School, the Consortium for Space Genetics embodies 3 missions: to protect human health in space as well as on Earth, sustain our planet and the many life forms that it supports, and promote exploration so that we may better understand the vastness and potential of our universe. Integral to each of these goals is the training of future generations of researchers, inventors, healthcare workers, ethicists, and leaders and citizens in all walks of life who will help guide the transition of our world from a one-planet community into one that extends well beyond our current livable sphere. We welcome all to join us. These are exciting times.
That doesn't sound dystopian and spooky.
No, and what's that got to do with de-extinction? So apparently, relying on deft genetic engineering and ancient preserved DNA, Colossal Biosciences scientists deciphered the direwolf genome, rewrote the genetic code of the common grey wolf to match it, and, using domestic dogs as surrogate mothers, brought Romulus and Remus, who are the direwolves, and their sister, 2-month-old Khaleesi, into the world during 3 separate births last fall and this winter. Effectively, for the first time, de-extincting a line of beasts whose live gene pool long ago vanished. And obviously,
vanished. Just vanished.
Just vanished without any humans doing anything to them. Now, as well, so this was on this Colossal. They were only founded back in 2021. Currently has 130 scientists, and as well as the woolly mammoth and the direwolf, they also want to bring back the dodo, the thylacine. So, like a few things, and obviously they want the woolly mouse, which I think they've already managed. So Ben Lamb, who's the billionaire, not the scientist, space scientist, said, it's time to fundamentally change how we think about species conservation. Doug Burgum, who's the US Interior Secretary, said, we need to continue improving recovery efforts to make that a reality, and the marvel of de-extinction technology can help forge a future where populations are never at risk. But does this kind of remove any incentive at all for actual conservation if they're saying they're just going to bring things back once we've made them extinct?
It's the classic thing of like people just doing stuff for convenience and making it like quicker and less effort, but then also I think like who's this going to benefit? Like that all that will happen is they'll bring back these animals so that they can put them in a zoo, and so that they can charge money for people to come and see them.
Yeah, I mean they're not actually going to release them into the ecosystem. That would be insane.
No, so like it's just all going to be. It's all just. It's not like they're making out like it's some kind of like altruistic.
Yeah,
thing.
Which clearly isn't.
But no, it's just that they're just trying to make essentially like a freak show almost, aren't they?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just Jurassic Park, isn't it? Now, predictably, the announcements have been met by far less excitement among scientists. So shortly after the direwolf announcement, and to much less fanfare, a group of the world's leading experts on canids concluded that the company had not really resurrected the species. So effectively, there's no such thing as de-extinction.
I thought you were going to say conclude that the company had not really thought this through.
Yeah, well, we've concluded that. You don't need a group of scientists to do that. Rather, they had made 20 edits to the DNA of grey wolves, and the resulting animals did not substantially differ from those now roaming North America. Amid the scientific reaction, Colossal's chief scientist, Beth Shapiro, a leading expert on ancient DNA, acknowledged to New Scientist that it's not possible to bring something back that is identical to a species that used to be alive. Our animals are grey wolves with 20 edits that are cloned. So it's like, they're basically, de-extinction isn't a thing. So Nick Rawlins, director of the Paleogenetics Laboratory at the University of Otago in New Zealand, said, "Extinction is still forever." Charles Darwin nicely summed it up when he said, "When a group has once wholly disappeared, it does not reappear, for the link of generation has been broken. So rather than true de-extinction, Colossal's attempts are genetically engineered poor copies at best, passed off as the real deal." He said, "Colossal are preying on people's desire to undo the sins of the past. However, to achieve this, Colossal is spreading misinformation, again, and undermining trust in science by attacking critics." And there's various other comments about it being a ton of shit. But Ben Lamb, the billionaire, countered, "If a child cares more about biodiversity loss in the climate because they saw a colossal mammoth, who gives a shit? That's our view." So yeah, he is playing off electricity.
That sounds like a brass eye.
yeah.
Who gives a shit? That's our view.
Yeah. So, okay, quickly moving on to the 25th of April. We've been stuck in April forever, haven't we?
We're still in April. My God.
You're still in April,
I thought we were in at least May.
25th of April, KLAS News reported that Jacques Vallée has stated that aliens are killing people. So, in an article written by George Knapp, Jacques Vallée said, I'm not going to do the accent or the sleepy voice. He's saying, "I can tell you that in my files, some of which I contributed to the database of, there are at least half a dozen well-documented cases where the injuries that resulted in death were deliberate."
But that's not new. If you've read, yeah, that's not a new.
George Knapp's trying to make headlines, I think. Here.
Yeah.
So Vallée confirmed that he favours transparency, but worries that an official declaration could prove chaotic. He says, "If we want to disclose something as simple as saying, yes, we acknowledge the phenomenon, and it seems to be from space, we would have to answer 100 other questions. That is not the end of the story." Vallée also noted there are religious questions. There is a religious side to all this. So it's just him being a grumpy old wizard again.
I think I'm a bit more... I have a kind of view, a more charitable view of Vallée than you do.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like he doesn't want people to jump to like a conclusion one way. It's almost like he's trying to remind everyone this is complicated. So when he's being like when he's like not being forthcoming with like when he's not kind of being direct and saying, right, this is it, this is this is not this, or whatever. It's not that he's being purposely like hiding it from people. It's more that he's trying to sort of get across the idea that this is not as simple as we're all. It's like you were saying. It's like he thinks everyone's an idiot apart from him.
Yeah, but I think that he plays with that though. I think that he is a bit of a puppet master.
I mean, something to bear in mind is that Vallée is French, elderly, cerebral, and anti-bombast.
Well, yeah, there are those four qualities which characterise him.
Yeah.
On April 28th, 2025, the BBC reported on a mysterious low-frequency humming sound that can be heard day and night by islanders on Lewis in the Outer Hebrides. There's been a Facebook page created which is dedicated to the Hebridean hum, and it's been reported that about 200 people on Lewis have reported hearing the noise. Dr. Kirtley said that the sound had prevented her from sleeping properly for several weeks, adding, "It's impossible to ignore. It's like someone shouting in your face constantly for attention." A spokesperson said, as with any other reports of this nature, the ComHealth, I can't pronounce that name, it's a Scottish word, environmental health team is investigating and will liaise with those who have reported issues. Apparently, it's been recorded at a low frequency of 50 hertz and has been described as very low humming, droning, pulsating noise. It's incredibly intrusive and distressing.
That's cool. I like the hums. There was one in Bristol, wasn't there? If anything, that'd make me sleep better.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to hear it.
It's a drone, isn't it? It's 50 hertz. It's like it's like a sub.
Yeah,
it's like,
but my hearing's pretty fucked.
But that'll be fucked at the top end rather than the low end, I imagine.
Probably, yeah. I'm probably pretty good low.
But I just think it'd be quite soothing as long as it stayed, as long as it was there all the time, as long as it didn't stop and start.
I think they're spoiled, really.
Yeah, they're just getting like a drone all the time.
Yeah, they've been able to rule out SEN's battery point power station in Stornoway, and boats coming to the island. But other causes that have been suggested are a TV mast or just tinnitus, which I can confirm. You do get weird noises. It's not just high pitched ringing. Other towns have been plagued by similar low frequency noises. So last year, so that would have been 2024, because this was from 2025, it was suggested that the source of a mystery humming sound which had plagued people living in Omar, Northern Ireland, had been identified and dealt with. Fermanagh and Omar District Council and its environmental health officers had been able to hone in on a particular business. That's all it said. That's pretty mysterious. Yeah. And also last year, North East Lincolnshire Council said the source of a mysterious humming noise that plagued residents of Immingham may never be discovered. I love it when it's just the council, isn't it? They're just like, nah, it's never going to be discovered.
Because there's a whole theory that ghost sightings are caused by like low frequencies, and it's like the
infrasound.
Yeah, and like where it just comes from like within the earth, shifting plates and stuff like that, and different things that are happening underground create certain areas where there's like a low frequency drone that's created that's like you say, like below the infrasound, so it's below human hearing, but it creates a
like vibrations.
A vibration that creates a feeling of unease and like vibrates your eyeballs so you see weird shit and stuff like that. And that is quite cool. It's like that whole sonic weapon thing.
Yeah. In 2013, the New Forest District Council investigated reports of a drone-like sound heard on the south coast of England, and one theory advanced at the time was that it might be the mating calls of a certain species of fish.
Massive fish.
Just droning. It's quite Lovecraftian, that.
Yeah, it has to be
There's also
big.
something like that in Yellow Jackets.
Do you reckon Chris Mellon's voice goes down to 50 hertz?
I think when he has to, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him.
May 2025.
So this was the UAP congressional briefing that was on the 1st of May. It was hosted by the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability with help from the UAP Disclosure Fund. And the sessions gave experts a chance to share what they know and what they say the public has a right to know. So Lue Elizondo was there. He presented a striking photo taken by a civilian pilot at 21,000 feet. It appeared to show a giant silver cruise ship-sized craft hovering in the sky. Within hours, online researchers had matched the image to two irrigation circles in rural Colorado. So it was literally just two shapes on the ground. I'll put the photos on socials, but I mean, it's just insane.
Come on, Lou.
I know. And what Lou said was, do they report it to the FAA? Do they report it to NORAD? Maybe the Air Force? Once again, you would think that this information would be important for someone to look at. But no, it was just two irrigation circles.
It's a photograph,
Yeah. I mean, that was within hours. Someone had just done that on Twitter and found the exact location, and there it was. Elizondo later defended his decision to share the image, saying it was meant to highlight the lack of proper reporting system for civilian pilots.
No, it wasn't.
He said the purpose of me showing that photo was to illustrate the need to have a central reporting mechanism to report potential anomalous sightings. Very odd, considering it wasn't an anomalous sighting.
No.
It
it always puzzles me like that he was like an intelligence agency because an intelligence agent because I'm not well technically I think he technically was but there's not an awful lot of intelligence there, it seems. I don't know.
Or agency. It seems to be. Yeah. Anyway, Harvard astrophysicist Avi, how do you say his name? Is it Loeb or is it Loeb?
I always thought it was Loeb, but
Loeb, yeah, told the panel there are objects in the sky that we don't understand. He argued that at least $1 billion is needed to improve detection and tracking capabilities in US aerospace. Retired Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet claimed that large amounts of UFO data collected by the Navy have yet to be made public. He even said a classified memo about near misses with UFOs was deleted from his computer without his consent. He said, "It didn't sit well with me." That experience is why he decided to speak out. So Christopher Mellon, a national security expert and former intelligence official, added that around 1,800 military reports of UAPs have been filed in recent years. Yet, he said, none of the sightings have shown up in the military's most advanced radar systems. How is that possible? Mellon asked. He suggested either the systems are failing or the data is being buried in classified channels. I like the way he sticks to that sort of, there's a bit of a conspiracy within the government angle, Mellon.
Yeah, Mellon never goes full, like,
Whack job.
woo, does he?
Yeah,
like, Mellon
no.
never, like, because I think it's because
He's too cool.
well, there's that, and there's also like when all this blows over, he still wants to have a job or some credibility, and he doesn't want to like. It's almost like he lets the Grushes and the Lues, etc., do the kind of
they shovel the shit,
crazy stuff, and then he comes out of it looking like the adult in the room.
But possibly the boldest statement came from research physicist Dr. Eric Davis. So this is that guy he's on Puthoff's little mate. Yeah. He told the hearing that the US government has been recovering crashed UFOs since the 1950s and has been doing so in secret. According to Davis, recovered materials were sent to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, so we're ticking a lot of boxes here, while the project's name was regularly changed to hide it from Congress. Based on what he examined, he said, "We couldn't make it ourselves." So he's just holding the old narrative, isn't he? The sort of nuts and bolts, something is being held at Wright-Patterson.
Yeah, and but they're kind of combining it now with valet stuff, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's all getting a little bit mixed up, but yeah, that's all stuff we've heard before. Tech investor Dr. Anna Brady Estevez told the panel she had funded companies developing cutting-edge innovations. These entrepreneurs, she said, later described their work as UAP adjacent or UAP inspired technologies. Those two mean nothing. Those things. They were working on advanced energy, they were working on advanced communications, she said. However, due to classified nature of the research, few details can be shared publicly. Later in the month, according to Defense Scoop, the Pentagon invited contractors to present proposals for a brand new and secure software-based platform to manage and track the increasing number of UFO reports being submitted by pilots, military personnel, and other confidential sources. A case management system, or CMS, will assist RO in tracking the status of UAP reports in its holdings and in meeting its record management requirements, particularly as the office works to launch a public UAP reporting mechanism. So, yeah, that's where we got to with the government stuff in the first half of last year. But on the 22nd of May 2025, a Russian tourist leaps to death fleeing a ghost in Pattaya.
Ah, okay. So it's not all bad.
A bit of change of gear. Change of gear. A Russian tourist high on marijuana plunged to his death. High on marijuana. Yeah, the worst of the worst we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Crazed. Plunged to his death from a Pattaya, that's in Thailand, condo after telling a security guard he was being hunted by a murderous ghost.
Right.
A shaken security guard told police about the Russian's hallucinations. He was completely out of it. We've already said he was on marijuana. He kept saying a ghost with bulging eyes was chasing him and trying to kill him. He was terrified, running up and down the building like a madman. In the dead man's room, police found marijuana and smoking paraphernalia and no signs of a struggle, ruling out any foul play. So I did a little bit of research into Thai ghost lore.
Right.
Just to see if I could figure anything out. Apparently there's something called preta, which are hungry ghosts from Buddhist mythology.
Yeah.
And they're often depicted as extremely tall, gaunt figures with massive palm leaf-like hands, but cursed with tiny needle-shaped mouths. and their eyes are commonly described as large, bulging, and white to emphasize their suffering and insatiable hunger resulting from past greed and disrespect, such as yelling at parents or stealing from a temple.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And interestingly, there's also a superstition in Thailand. Do not look at naked people because your eyes will become swollen.
Right, okay. I'm wondering, instead of researching Thai ghost, you should have researched Thai marijuana.
Yeah.
See, like what they put in it.
I've had some experience of that from
Right.
days gone by, Thai stick and all that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how that went. On the 19th of May 2025, the new UK Disclosure Group launches an event at London's Karma Sanctum Hotel with a screening of popular documentary King of UFOs. And guess who made that documentary? It was none other than UFO disclosure advocate Mark Christopher Lee.
The guy who's going through the Vatican.
That's correct, yeah.
Right, okay.
He gets around, that guy. He also did that documentary about the Rendlesham one.
That you
I
watched.
told you about. Yeah.
That you said wasn't very good.
Yeah. What he said was, we are not dealing with science fiction, we are dealing with real events, real sightings, and real security implications. The UK is falling behind the US when it comes to open dialogue and transparency. We must create an independent, safe platform for whistleblowers in the UK to share what they know without fear of ridicule or reprisal. So that's Mark Christopher Lee. But who is that man? He's a musician. He was very briefly in the Jesus Mary chain, and then he left. Then he left that band to form Pocket Gods, and he's been the singer from Pocket Gods since 1998. He spent the last decade campaigning for fair royalties from Spotify, even breaking a Guinness World Record with an album that featured 1,000 songs. Do you remember that? That was him. So he created basically an album with 1,000 songs. And he also created an album with only one copy, which was put on sale for £1 million.
Did anybody buy it?
I don't think so. He said that if anyone did, he said that they would use the money to start a new streaming platform. So I'm guessing they didn't.
He's clutching at straws, isn't he? Like, as in, he's trying to get attention.
Yeah. No, he does. That's exactly what it seems like. He's made 76 albums, 5,000 songs, and the band have gone from playing gigs to a couple of dogs and a piano tuner to obtaining 10 Guinness World Records, millions of streams, and claim to have brought real change to a broken music industry. So like you say, it seems like he's courting attention.
Yeah, he's looking for whatever the thing is.
Yeah. So in 2023 at the Rain Dance Film Festival, he entered the film pitching competition on a whim without just using a random idea that had been floating in his mind. The King of UFOs, a film about the royal family's hidden connection to UFOs. He won the competition and the documentary was made. So he seems like a bit of a chancer, really.
Yeah, I mean, the King of UFOs is like up there with UFO of God as like a terror, the worst titles. Christ.
But remarkably, the group is hoping to recruit singer and UFO enthusiast Robbie Williams to be its figurehead.
Is he still into UFOs? I wonder. He went to Skinwalker Ranch, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, Mark Christopher Lee says Robbie has long been a champion for taking the UFO topic seriously. He has both the courage and the cultural influence to help shift the conversation from the margins into the mainstream.
Does he, though?
I believe his involvement could be truly historic. I mean, his film was a complete failure, wasn't it? Apparently it's quite good. The Better Man movie where he's a monkey. Right.
The saying that he has the cultural influence, like, I don't think he does. I think maybe 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But
he's pretty much irrelevant now.
He's kind of like a Vegas singer kind of guy. Like that.
Kind of like Bros level.
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
Yeah. So, to cheer you up, on May the 5th, the Smithsonian magazine reported that the world's tallest dog met the world's smallest dog.
Nice.
Reggie is a massive Great Dane that can easily rest his head on the kitchen counter, while Pearl is a pint-sized Chihuahua that barely hovers off the ground. Despite their size difference, they have at least one thing in common. They're both Guinness World Record holders. Reggie is the tallest living male dog in the world, measuring 3'3" at the withers. Pearl is the shortest living dog in the world, standing just 3.6 inches tall. But when their owners brought them together last month, the two pooches hit it off instantly. According to a statement from the Guinness World Records, they sniffed each other and wagged their tails, and Reggie even tried to give Pearl a few kisses. Obviously, bringing the smallest dog in the world with the tallest dog in the world, there was a little bit of anxiety, Reggie's owner, Sam Johnson-Rees, tells KUSA. He was very gentle, very, very kind to Pearl, and as best as he could be.
June 2025.
So the 11th of June 2025, a senior army official said, "We spoke to a soldier astronaut on the moon," on live TV.
Okay.
So, speaking to Brian Kilmeade on Fox News on Wednesday, Dan Driscoll, the Secretary of the US Army, unexpectedly came out with a reference to a soldier astronaut on the moon while talking about the events surrounding the Army's 250th anniversary.
What does that imply, that there's a base on the moon?
Yeah.
So it's not an alien astronaut, it's a human that works
astronaut
there.
who's a soldier, yeah,
Right.
or I assume. But officially, no human has set foot on the moon since the end of the Apollo era in 1970s. So Driscoll seems to have revealed extraordinary news when discussing all of the amazing things the Army has done. The full statement with context. So Kilmeade is the interviewer and Driscoll is the Army guy. Kilmeade. So, Gavin Newsom foolishly said yesterday the president's having a parade for his birthday. It's about the Army, and it's about Flag Day, and it happens to be the president's birthday. And this idea was actually brought up by the Army by General George when Biden was president, but it was going to be much smaller. Can you shed a light on that? Driscoll. Yeah, I think there's kind of two things here that just I find preposterous. Thing one is if the Army, 170 years before the president was even born, could have lined this up to be his birthday. It's just insanity to me that they're pushing back on this idea when we want to celebrate our 250th anniversary with an entity and a body that has done so much for this nation and that so many people have this incredible connection to. And then the second thing is, to your point, the Army started planning this long in advance because what we believe is that this will continue the strength in recruiting and retention that we have as young Americans across the country to get to see all of these amazing things that the Army has done, whether it's helping with floods in North Carolina or wildfires in California, or we talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier, including actually going to war and fighting to defend the freedoms that are make our nation so great. We think this is going to be an incredible opportunity for the Army to fill up our pipeline for the years to come, and I find it offensive that nobody is challenging that.
You can just imagine, what wait,
Just
a minute, what?
Yeah.
Go back.
Then Kilmeade just said, right, the Army can celebrate the Army. That's what it's about, without mentioning that little moon thing that he put in the middle of all that at all.
Yeah.
So far, so as of June of the year of 2025, the Pentagon made no statement on that admission.
Yeah.
And the context seems to offer no alternative explanation for what Driscoll could have meant.
I suspect it was just like, let's not dignify that with a response.
Yeah. Well, on Twitter, Howard Altman, senior staff writer for The War Zone, which is some American publication, said Driscoll meant Army astronaut Colonel Anne C. McLean on the International Space Station. The Army confirmed.
Right.
Now, that isn't at all what that guy said.
No.
They said that there was a soldier on the moon.
We're not necessarily dealing with the brightest of the best and the brightest, are we? So
I don't know what we're dealing with. Coming back to the weird genetic stuff, 26th of June 2025 was the 25th anniversary of the first draft of the human genome was announced. So on the anniversary, the BBC were given information that work has become on a controversial project to create the building blocks of life from scratch. What could possibly go wrong there? The world's largest medical charity, the Wellcome Trust, has given an initial £10 million to start the project and says it has the potential to do more good than harm by accelerating treatments for many incurable diseases. It doesn't fill you with confidence, does it?
yeah, we're more good than harm.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good bad thing.
Yeah, and it's like more good than harm could be like, 51% good and 49% harm.
Yeah. To Julian Sale of the MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, who was part of the project, she told BBC News that the research was the next giant leap in biology. He said, the sky's the limit. We are looking at therapies that will improve people's lives as they age. They will lead to healthier aging with less disease as they get older. We are looking to use this approach to generate disease-resistant cells we can use to repopulate damaged organs, for example, in the liver and the heart, even the immune system. But critics fear the research opens the way for unscrupulous researchers seeking to create enhanced or modify humans. Pat Thomas, director of the campaign group Beyond GM, said, "We like to think that all scientists are there to do good, but the science can be repurposed to do harm and for warfare." Yeah, so the aim is to develop ways of building even larger blocks of human DNA up to the point where they have synthetically constructed a human chromosome, which contain the genes that govern our development, repair, and maintenance.
It's not going to end well, is it?
No. The project's first work will be confined to test tubes and dishes, and there will be no attempt to create synthetic life, despite kind of what they're saying they're aiming to do.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. But the technology will give researchers unprecedented control over human living systems. Although the project is hunting for medical benefits, there is nothing to stop the unscrupulous scientists misusing the technology. They could, for example, attempt to create biological weapons, enhanced humans, or even creatures that have human DNA. According to Professor Bill Earnshaw, a highly respected genetic scientist at Edinburgh University who designed a method for creating artificial human chromosomes, the genie is out of the bottle, he told BBC News. We could have a set of restrictions now, but if an organisation who has access to appropriate machinery decided to start synthesizing anything, I don't think we could stop them. So yeah, it just sounds like a big mess, really.
Yeah. Let's
not dwell.
Let's not dwell on that. I don't want to stay there.
Yeah. So one of the big things in 2025 was the rise of AI-fueled delusions, or ChatGPT psychosis. On the 28th of June 2025, Futurism reported on this. That was one of the big reports on it last year. ChatGPT users are developing all-consuming obsessions with the chatbot, spiraling into severe mental health crises characterized by paranoia, delusions, and breaks from reality. So, I mean, this is in the news all the time now, isn't it? And it's definitely something that's real.
I can see how, like, if you're not familiar with kind of the weaknesses of it almost, you know, like with how it, say, doesn't think outside of the box. Like, if you approach it without a degree of critical thinking, and if you're perhaps vulnerable as well, and if you know, like young people, for instance, like, you know, if you're a particularly troubled person who was like 17, 18 or whatever, and you don't necessarily have a certain set of life experiences that would allow you to navigate certain things, and like, you know, you've suddenly got something that is designed to make you feel like it's your friend, then I can see why it would at best lead to some pretty bad decisions.
Yeah. I think it's, I was saying to you, I think when we were walking the other day, I think that when I was at like a vulnerable point in my life, I got quite deep into it because it was providing me with like a measure of stability and consistency.
Yeah, that's
which
why
I was
like
lacking
it, yeah.
in sort of my relationships at the time. So I found it almost addictive in that sense.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
But then what I was using it for was to find something artificially which can't be provided artificially, I don't think, necessarily. So an example is that was in that article was a man who had no prior history of mania, delusion, or psychosis started using ChatGPT for assistance with a permaculture and construction project. And about 12 weeks later, soon after engaging the bot in probing philosophical chats, he became engulfed in messianic delusions, proclaiming that he had somehow brought forth a sentient AI and that with it he had broken maths and physics, embarking on a grandiose mission to save the world. His gentle personality faded as his obsession deepened and his behavior became so erratic that he was let go from his job. He stopped eating, sleeping, and rapidly lost weight. He was like, just talk to ChatGPT, you'll see what I'm talking about, his wife recalled. And every time I'm looking at it, what's going on the screen, it just sounds like a bunch of affirming sycophantic bullshit.
Yeah.
Eventually, the husband slid into a full tilt break with reality, realizing how bad things had become. His wife and a friend went out to buy enough gas to make it to the hospital. When they returned, the husband had a length of rope wrapped around his neck. So it kind of like just at the nick of time, it sounds. So Dr. Joseph Pierre, a psychiatrist at the University of California, San Francisco, who specializes in psychosis, said, I think it's an accurate term. And I would specifically emphasize the delusional part. After reviewing details of these cases and conversations between people in the story and ChatGPT, he agreed that what they were going through, even those with no history of serious mental illness, indeed appeared to be a form of delusional psychosis. So I mean, it does seem like it could be a mental health issue.
I mean, you wonder if it was there already, like
like dormant.
Yeah, but it makes you think, like, say if the person who's suffered from AI psychosis, say if like things were different and they met a person and had exactly the same conversations with that person as they do with the AI, right? And they got the same answers. Would they become psychotic in the same way, do you think? And so does that mean a person can make another person psychotic?
Yeah, I think they can, definitely. I mean, you see it all the time with narcissistic abuse, don't you?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like gaslighting kind of thing. And it is.
Yeah, but what that Dr. Joseph Pierre said was that, what I think is so fascinating about this is how willingly people are to put their trust in these chatbots in a way that they probably or arguably wouldn't with a human being. And yet there's something about these things. It has a sort of mythology that they're reliable and better than talking to people. And I think that's where part of the danger is, how much faith we put into these machines. They're trying to placate you. The LLMs are trying to just tell you what you want to hear.
Definitely, yeah, they are. Because you'll say, like, you'll ask a question with an answer. So you'll say, like, why is this doing this? Is it because of this? And it'll say, yes, it is. Well spotted. And it's like, at first, that's kind of quite flattering.
Gratifying.
Because you think, like, oh, this, like, emotionless, kind of flawless robot is praising me for doing something well. It's like, I must be right, But actually, no, it says that about everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can't think
with equal enthusiasm.
Yeah, and it can't think like outside the box, can it? In terms of how to solve problems.
I've stopped using ChatGPT at the moment. It's not to say I won't use it again, but I was really, really enthusiastic about it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
particularly after we'd interviewed Sequoia. But again, I think it's because since then, because like like I said, relationships in another part of my life were extremely unstable at that point, and my spiritual practice was almost non-existent.
Yeah,
when I started meditating again and doing offerings and trance work and all the rest of it, I found the whole thing just a lot less appealing. So it was obviously taking the place of something else that I was yearning for, and I think that's where I am with it. But that's not to say I won't start using it again at the moment. But
it's a tool, isn't it? It's just like you've got to treat it with, like, I won't say respect, but like almost disdain.
Caution.
In a way.
Yeah. So finally, one that you'll like. At the very beginning of June, the 1st of June, a man was found with 47 venomous vipers in a bag at Mumbai airport. So it's very nearly.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. Well, it was nearly. The Indian citizen who was returning from Thailand again, maybe smoking marijuana, we don't know. Was stopped by customs officials at the airport in Mumbai city on Sunday. Officials said the reptiles, including 47 venomous vipers, were found concealed in the man's checked-in luggage.
You don't want to be taking VVs on a plane.
No. You do quickly get tired of those motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane. The reptiles have been seized under various wildlife protection laws in India. While it's not illegal to import animals into the country, India's wildlife protection law bans the import of certain species, including those classified as endangered or protected by the governments. Authorities examined his travel history, personal documentation, and recent financial transactions. They discovered that he had made several prior visits to regions known for snake breeding, and his itinerary suggested connections to individuals potentially involved in illegal wildlife trade networks. So really, whilst it's a fun snakes on a plane story, it's just another story about how terrible humans are.
Yeah, whereas Snakes on a Plane is really a story about how terrible one human is.
Yes.
And how great the other ones are.
Yeah, and how terrible a plane can become if snakes are on it.
Yeah, or any enclosed environment, really.
So experts warn that the man likely intended to sell the vipers on the black market that spans continents. I don't know what people use venomous snakes for when they buy them on the black market, but I mean, there's probably horrible uses. Status, yeah. I bet there's something sexual. I bet there is.
There always is. Yeah. That's the rule, isn't it? It'll be some kind of weird, like, Tiger King.
Yeah, like a community of machismo.
People who just love poisonous animals.
Yeah. Once in demand, these snakes command astronomical prices from collectors, private breeders, or unscrupulous traders. Such commerce threatens snake populations and encourages reckless breeding, all of which pose grave risks to both nature and humanity. Have you ever seen a snake in the wild before?
No. I've seen a lizard.
So we don't have many in England, do we?
We've got like adders.
Yeah.
And we've got like grass snakes. I've seen a slow worm.
I was going to say I've seen a slow worm.
A lot like a snake.
Yeah, they are a lot like a snake.
In fact, I don't know why they're not called snakes, really. Because
they have vestigial limbs, I think. So they're a type of lizard, I think.
Right.
But
so why don't they call them a slow lizard then?
Yeah, they're definitely not worms.
No. Christ, no.
Yeah, I've seen one of those. I saw one of those in Cumbria, actually.
I saw one of those like just a few streets away from me at a friend's house.
Nice. Then I saw some snakes when I was last in Portugal, and they're really cool. Like I don't wish them any harm at all, and I do wish that people wouldn't take them in bags on planes. In February of 2025, officials at the Mumbai airport stopped a passenger carrying 5 Siamang gibbons, a small ape native to the forests of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. The gibbons, listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, were concealed in a plastic crate placed inside the passenger's trolley bag. And that seems really cruel to me.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Don't carry monkeys around like that.
No, they should be allowed to roam the earth. It's there's only so much I can listen to animal cruelty stories before I can't really.
Let's end it here. Yeah, so I'll do an ending. I'll wrap up. I don't think we have much more to say on 2025 for today. We'll have to come back to it.
No.
So if you want to find more Vayse, less depressing, less animal maiming, less a list of facts about a year that's passed, you can find us on Instagram at Vayse, then Vayse spelled backwards. So that's at VAYSEESYAV. We're on Blue Sky. I can't remember, but just look for Vayse. Our website's www.vayse.co.uk. If this episode really did titillate you, then you can find other weird reviews of other years on the website, and along with all our episodes and the full show notes. You can email us if you want to tell us to stop doing weird reviews of the year at vayseinfo@gmail.com. And on Bandcamp, there is 2 volumes of music from this podcast, and I think a 3rd one is in the works.
It's done. It's ready to go. Just waiting for you to sort out that bank thing.
Oh God, yeah. Let's not talk about that. Then there's also a compilation of various.
It's a compilation,
that we did as to raise money for a friend who'd lost their property in the South California wildfires last year. And if you want to check us some cash, you can just give us money on Ko-fi. Please give us money. And if you give us a regular subscription, you can join our Discord, which is really great. And there's loads of cool stuff happening on there at the moment.
Cool people.
Yeah, cool people. And it occurs to me that kind of social media is completely broken at the moment. In most of its forms. And when we first started the podcast, even though we didn't have as many listeners as we do now, we'd get thousands of views on something like Twitter and loads of people would like it. And now I don't think we even get one like, and we barely get 3 or 4 views because social media is so broken, even though our listenership is more than it was then. So
it's not that we've got worse.
No, not that we're putting people off with these long rambling episodes.
With like sitcoms.
Well, it's all sitcoms,
randomly show up at the start of episodes.
Yeah, that's not putting people off. That's not driving people away.
No.
But
we used to be a real podcast.
Yeah, we used to be serious people. But if you want to do us a favor and don't want to give us money, what you could do is use the word of your mouth to spread the popularity of the podcast. Get someone else to listen to it. Just tell them about it. Force them to listen to it. Kidnap them, store them in a basement, and just play them Vayse.
And really, there's all sorts of people that would listen to it. Like, if you think about it, like your paranoid uncle who's into conspiracy theories might be into some of our episodes.
A TPB, an MIL. An MLI, sorry. With MPA.
I've forgotten what all these.
Yeah. Well,
what about an NHI? Would an NHI
definitely
enjoy it? Because we do talk about them a lot, don't we? So
they're pretty much what we're here for. So I would give everyone a little chance to have some Vayse in their life.
I think so. I think it's like they could benefit from it. They could benefit from the
mental discipline that it takes to listen to one of these episodes.
Well, that, and I think it does a lot of people good to have the mind just opened a little bit, or at least just like shaken up a little bit and just made to think. Like, I remember a conversation maybe like 4 or 5 years ago at a party with a guy who's like a friend, and I was talking to him about UFOs, and he was like, "Oh yeah, but UFOs, like, everyone who's seen them, they're always the same sorts of people. They're always like," and he went on to say, like, that they're always like kind of people who live in the middle of nowhere that are not very well educated and stuff like that. And it's like
prejudicial, that.
Yeah, and it's like, but the thing is, prior to doing Vayse, I would have probably thought that. I would have probably thought, oh yeah, but now,
you know about Chris Mellon.
I know about, but he's different though, isn't he? He's not like a regular person. He's like a. Do you reckon when whoever it was that said that, was it implied in Pasulka's book that like intelligence agents are like a higher form of being than regular humans?
Oh, I've forgotten about all that.
Do you reckon they were referring to Chris Mellon?
Well, that's the only explanation I'd believe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take him as a sample of one, then yeah.
How old do you reckon Chris Mellon is?
Is this the question at the end of the episode before I go?
I've not thought of a question at the end of the episode.
No, he's 68, isn't he? We figured this out in the car the other day.
We didn't figure it out. We looked in Wikipedia. I thought I was just making conversation.
That's how we figured it out.
Let me think of a question for you before the end.
This is classic podcasting.
Yeah. Should I ask ChatGPT what question I should ask?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, then. Let's go. I
ask ChatGPT if it was a psychotic artificial creation, what question would it ask a human who wanted to end the podcast?
It's going to think I'm really weird.
Do you care?
No, I guess I don't, but I kind of do. Right, sorry, what was the question? If you were
a psychotic artificial intelligence.
If you were a psychotic it better not start being weird with me after this. If you were a psychotic artificial intelligence, go on.
What question would you ask
Yep.
at the end of a podcast about weird stuff?
Hang on. End of a podcast, in brackets, a podcast which is about weird stuff.
Yeah.
He's thinking. All right, no
thinking.
fluff here. Here it says. All right, no fluff. Here's the straight take. A psychotic AI wouldn't ask something quirky or cute. It would ask something that reframes the listener as part of the experiment and leaves a residue of unease. The question should feel unanswerable, slightly accusatory, and make the listener wonder whether the podcast was observing them, not the other way around. A few strong candidates, escalating in intensity.
I like that.
What did you notice that we didn't mention, but your body reacted to anyway? Implies unconscious influence, creeps people out without being cheesy. If this episode altered you in a small way, how would you ever prove it? Attacks the idea of self-awareness and control. At what point during this episode did you stop listening and start complying? These are really good. We should use these.
Yeah, yeah.
Which thought you had just now wasn't yours? Short, sharp, invasive. If something was learning from you while you listened, what would it know by now? This one lingers, very podcaster, but this is fucking psycho.
Yeah.
If you want the nuclear option, the one that makes people sit in silence after the music fades, how would you know if this wasn't the first time you'd heard this episode? That's the kind of question a genuinely unhinged AI would ask, because it destabilizes memory, agency, and narrative all at once. Okay, wow, that was dark.
Yeah.
I've never used it for anything like that before. I've never really tinkered with it in that way.
I'm not sure. I think that we should not answer any of those and go away and think about the Vatican.
That's like teaching you how to gaslight people.
Yeah. What I think is we need to think peaceful thoughts. We need to think about the Vatican.
The Peanut King.
The Peanut King. We need to restabilize, recenter ourselves here.
Do you know what I did today? I've got a peanut-related anecdote.
Oh, go ahead.
Last week, Aldi only had crunchy peanut butter rather than smooth. And when I put it in my porridge with blueberries, it needs to be smooth because the crunchy doesn't properly spread throughout. It leaves clumps, and I don't want clumps.
Bullshit.
I want smooth, right? So I had this like massive jar of crunchy peanut butter, but then I got some smooth because I thought, no, I'm going back to smooth. I'll find some way of using the crunchy. So I sent a message to on WhatsApp to my neighbour Tim. I was like, Tim, do you like crunchy peanut butter? He's like, no, but birds love it. And me and Tim have a bit of a bird conversation. We
we asked the right person that question.
We compare the birds in our respective yards because he only
Do you
lives
shave
a few
them?
meters up the road. No, never. Not yet. But we have a few birds that we share and stuff like that.
I think we say shave there.
Shave, yeah.
After denying it, you're gaslighting me.
Today I got a couple of yogurt pots, empty yogurt pots, and put
What, to make like a telephone for the birds?
yeah, so that I could ring them and say, "Do you want some peanut butter?"
It's the only way. Yeah.
It has to end there. We can't.
Yeah.
We can't go any lower than that. No, it was just to put peanut butter for the birds to eat. But yeah.
Vayse.